Hello and welcome. This is Amanda, the Nerdy Krafter, and this is my August Make It Simple Monday, part of the Art Impressions Way Facebook group um, submission that I'm going to work on. And this month's theme is gnomes. There are a couple different gnome sets in Art Impressions. There's a cubby gnome and this gnome, and there's like an elf set. We also expanded it to whimsical, so it could be the abode. So there's a cute little hobbit house, teacups, fairies, whatever your heart desires. Bring out your whimsical, brings out your magically inspired items and come play with us. So I went through and I stamped up a bunch of these little bitty gnomes, and I was at a crop this weekend and I found some gorgeous 49 Market paper. And I'm like, you know what? This just reminds me. So here is the paper here. And these little corners here reminded me of a fairy village. So this set is Nature's Haven. So I'm going to do something a little bit different. This set comes with dies also, which is amazing. Not all of the watercolor line does, but I was thinking, since I can watercolor these and just add them into these little elements, I can use a pre-printed, I don't have to build the whole background myself. So when we say make it simple, this is another way to make it really, really simple, is just coming in, putting together these little images and adding it into some paper that does all the work for you. So let's get to coloring. I think I'm going to start with this one. And the one that kind of spoke with me, I'm kind of torn between this little sleeping dude or this one kind of looking up into, and I'm thinking I'm going to go with this guy here. So let's go with this little man. And let's pull out some of our colors we're going to use. I'm going to use the 912 for his nose and his hands, but he doesn't have very much of hands there. I love this 346, so I'm going to use that for his shirt. For his pants, we're going to bring in the 947. Of course, we've got a red hat, so we need our 856. And I'm going to bring in our 565 and our 969 to build a little bit of that gray color for his beard, and then probably down for his boots also. So these are the colors that I have in mind to use. Let me bring these over so you can take a quick look at the numbers here that we will be using today. And I did get a new set of brushes last month, and they're the Escato brushes. They're travel size. I absolutely love them. So I'm going to bring out my number 4. I think I've got a number 2 in here also. So I may, because these are smaller elements, bring in that one also. I have found that I wanted to upgrade my my brushes a little bit. I think with time it adds just a little bit extra to your projects. So I'm going to come in here, 856. Now this one's going to be the red. There are times, because I want a red to be very deep, that I will go in and put that directly to the paper. So I may do that. For his jacket, we're going to use the 346. For his pants, we're doing the 947. And then I'm going to build our gray. And for our gray, it is 2 stripes of the 565 and a half a stripe of the 969. And I'm going to mix that together first. So that's already ready to go. Make sure that's the right color I'm looking for. Perfect. Okay. And I'm going to pinch that off and actually wipe it off on my towel, because I really don't want that color to be on there to start with. Let's start with the nose. Now I am going to leave a little bit of white up towards the top because the sun's coming from here. His little hand. These are such small images. They are going to be super fast to color, which I absolutely love. It is literally just tapping in a little bit of color, leaving a little bit of white in there. I was avoiding doing this project. I'm going to do his boots the same color. Last weekend, I just had no energy. I think I burnt the candle at both ends, and my body was like, nope, time to rest. So last weekend I took a weekend of rest. I was so nice, great recharge. And I've avoided these little guys, and I don't know why. I think you're either team gnome or you're team no gnome. And historically, I have been no gnome. For years, I was like, oh, I can't stand all the gnome paper and all this stuff. And I will say, I was watching one of Bonnie's videos the other day about gnomes, and she said that the gnomes won her over, and I would have to agree. I think over the years, um, I've become a little bit more gnomey. So I don't know if that was kind of what was holding me back from doing these projects or what, but these are, I didn't realize how small and simple these are. And especially with the idea of just using paper to do the work for me. Goodness gracious. Sometimes I just have to say, Amanda. So again, nothing in nature is actually white. So that's why I'm bringing in some of that gray for his beard. I'm just pushing this color back. I just want it to appear not flat white. There we go. I was getting a little bit, I don't know if I had a little bit of the red still on my brush, but it was a little too pinky for me. So, and sometimes that color does come out a little pinky. So it's okay. That is the one thing I love about the watercolor is if it gets a little too much, you can pick it up. You can just work on it a little bit and work it until you get the colors you're looking for. I tell students when I teach, it's very, very rare that I will throw away a piece because I can't get it to do what I want it to do. Now, red and yellow are the two colors that kind of stick to your brush, so take a little bit of time with either of those colors and pinch it off a couple times. I'm just adding a little bit more color in now that the color's set, and we are almost done. That is all she takes. Okay, I'm gonna close this up so I don't make a mess because we all know that that is a possibility. I did pull out the die for this cutie. So line that die up. And I did stamp, when I stamped this, I did use my Cloud 9 by Lisa Horton. The thing I like about that ink is I can watercolor with it and or use my alcohol markers. So just depending on whatever paper that I choose to use, it lets me know what medium I'm going to use. So I got my little Platinum Scout here. Now those that know me know that there's no way that I got it just because it's a gorgeous lavender, my favorite color. That was not the reason why I got this beauty. But it actually works really well. I love it. It stays right on my desk, so it's right where I need it whenever I need it. Be gentle. This is also Spellbinders. Oh, and it brought up a little bit of that red. I probably die cut it a little too soon, but that's okay. We can come in. Like I said, we can always fix things. Just tap in a little bit more of that red. It's the world's best tape, and the only reason why it came off like that was because it was probably just a little bit wet when I went to die cut on it. But that little guy is done. Let me find this little scene here. And what I'm thinking is he's just going to sit there. I'm going to pop him up. I'm going to cut this down just a little bit more. So let me grab a paper trimmer here. So I normally don't do all of this while we're on camera, but today I'm going to go ahead and do this. So we're doing an artist trading card. So it's called an ATC, and that is 2.5 by 3.5. The reason why I'm going to trim this down just a little bit more is because I want to back this with another piece of paper. I know I have some metallic paper here, And I like to layer it up. It just makes it pop. Now this paper is going to be super shiny on screen, so I apologize in advance. Let me just see. That is, okay, so 3.5 by 2.5. So just to give this a little bit of extra, that does bring the image down a little bit more, and then I'm going to pop him up. I'm going to pull out some of my foam. I have these little foam strips here, so these should work. And I'm going to pop him right on up. And there we go. So stinking cute. Remember, with watercoloring, you just don't have to watercolor. You can build a scene without even having to do the work, just letting the paper do the work for you. So thank you again. This is Amanda the Nerdy Crafter. Come back and join me again in a couple weeks with the next little gnome. Thank you and have a great day.